thank you, Madeline. Madeline, my friend. Madeline, I'm your Maymay. I'm your godmother of sorts. Yeah. I've known Madeline forever, and she has just grown up to be an amazing woman. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I really am. So, but I'm going to let you tell your story for your herstory here. And I want to start out with the fact that, God, you did so many things out in Williston, and the theater, and the dance, and the whole 9 yards. But coming from that, and not that I should have thought of anything of what you were going to do, why nursing?
So, okay, yeah, so a little background. I grew up in Western Mass, and I was very involved in the arts growing up, in theater and dance and singing. And then I kind of continued that through college. I danced and I sang a cappella, which was so fun, and I loved it. But I don't know, I always really wanted to help people. That was kind of always my, I felt like that was always kind of the end goal. So, I thought about medicine, I thought about veterinary school, and I don't know, it's kind of funny. A lot of people I meet are like, my mom's a nurse, and my aunt's a nurse, and my grandmother's a nurse, and it's a lot of people tend to have like families of nurses, and that's not me. I don't have any nurses in my family. My grandfather is a cardiologist, and I'm very close with him, but there are no nurses in my family, and I kind of just stumbled upon it and was like, oh, yeah, that sounds like the right move.
Wow.
And so I went to Simmons College, which is now Simmons University, and graduated with my bachelor's in nursing and minor in public health. And yeah, I just love it. It's so versatile. You can do so much with it. I feel like there's so many different places for nurses. There's occupational nurses and industrial nurses, and you can specialize in like anything. So, it's a little bit like medicine in that, like being a doctor, where you can kind of take it to so many different places, which I really like.
I have a question, because I remember, I think maybe your mom even told me, not you, but of instances where there are kids or there's somebody that just can't come out of their shell, the pain they're in or whatever. How do you, and I've always thought of this, how do you deal, especially with children, but anybody that are going through so much, they're in pain, their family's there, so on and so forth. How do you deal with that? How does that make you feel? Because I know that you comfort these people and help them. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I did work as a nursing assistant for a year and a half before I graduated on a pediatric floor.
That's
And so it is really, the pediatric population is in itself so difficult, because a huge part of what you're dealing with day to day is the parents. The parents, that's at least like 50% of the job is comforting them. And what I kind of learned is that, each patient is a little different. Some parents are very hands-off, some parents are very hands-on. And obviously it varies by developmental stage, how old they are. But I think I learned a lot in college about there's a big emphasis on compassion and like cultural competence and sorry, I'm trying to kind of figure out where to go with this.
Time, yeah.
I guess it's like, sorry, this is a hard question. It's I think trying to put yourself in their shoes a little bit. And this isn't even just with pediatrics, but even when I have adult patients who are what I would consider difficult, it all comes from a place of fear, because being in the hospital is scary. And I'm in the hospital every single day at work, and so like for me it's no big deal. And I've even had family members in the hospital and my family's freaking out. I'm like, why? But it's just because I'm there every day. So I think trying to internalize that and realize that everything comes from a place of fear, and just trying to kind of calm that fear and let them know that, like, depending on what's going on, giving them as much information as possible about what's going on is very helpful. When they know, any updates, what does this mean, things like that. So kind of just trying to give as much information as possible, and be realistic, but also compassionate.
Passionate, yeah. It's good to know. I mean, you know what the big thing is? You're right. We go in, we don't know what's what. Who are you? What are you doing? What does this mean? Why are you telling me that? And so everything keys up, and it's good that you did say because you're there all the time, and that you can relay some comfort or assurance to people.
Yeah,
it's gonna be okay as best you can.
Yeah,
that's
and having conversations with the family members is also really important, so that they know who you are, and you can kind of get a feel for what they need in terms of their family members' care. Because I've had some parents who are very kind of relaxed and fine with me being there, and I've had other parents who like demanded my attention and my time and needed me to act a certain way, which I understand, and so you modify how you react with them.
Based on who you're with. Yeah. Interesting. So now here's another thing. You just made an announcement that you are making this major. I think it's a major change, right?
It's a major change.
So why don't you say, what led you to it and what it is, and
Sure.
share.
So I've kind of felt my pull in my career towards women's health, and I've kind of been going in that direction and feeling like this is what I want to do with my life, is work with women. And so a little over a year ago, I walked into a local women's health clinic and abortion center, and it's funny, it was my New Year's resolution for 2018 to volunteer more. And so I realized that I lived right near this women's health clinic, and I walked in one day and was just like, do you need volunteers? And they were like, hold on a second, who are you? What do you do? And I said, I'm a nurse. And they said, oh, we need nurses. So they actually hired me per diem. So I've worked for the past year and a half, a little more than that, at a major hospital on a post-surgical floor. But I've also been working per diem, which is, it kind of means like as much as you can, as much as you want. So I would do like one shift every other week or so, 2 to 3 shifts a month. At this women's health center. And then additionally, over the summer, I started applying to nurse practitioner programs, because I've always, since the beginning when I went into nursing, I knew the end goal was also to be a nurse practitioner. So I decided though that I wanted to specialize in women's health. So I was applying to women's health nurse practitioner programs. And I was accepted, and I began a program this January. So I'm almost done with my first semester of Women's Health Nurse Practitioner School, which is very exciting. And then also I've been looking for a new job, just because I'm feeling like, as I said, nursing is super versatile and you can work in so many different places with it. So I was applying for different positions in women's health areas, in the hospital, in like non-hospital locations, so like not necessarily doctor's offices, but other centers, kind of like the one that I've been working in per diem. And I actually got offered a position to take over for my boss at the Women's Health Center, who is kind of trying to retire. So I'm going to be the new nursing director at this Women's Health Center.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you just figured out what you wanted to do, and you just like got into it. You volunteered, you did the work, you did the coursework. I mean, really, and it just all came to fruition.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's funny too. I just stumbled in. I was like, do you need volunteers? I just walked in one day.
They're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Of course we do. Yeah. That is amazing. That is great. Now, having said all that, and really, you took a great path. You did everything that sounds right and what you need to do. So how would you express that to people, in whether it's nursing or whatever, that to get to where it is that you want? How do you see doing that?
Sure. Well, I also think that I'm a little bit of a special case, because I think so many people my age, I'm still 23, don't know exactly what they want to do with their life.
And that's true.
And I also keep trying to kind of say that to like my friends and stuff. I feel like I'm a very special case, because even when people feel like they know what they want to do, it so often changes. I mean, and I know I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing now for the rest of my life. You know, it's your career is so long, and there's so many things you can do with it. But I just kind of followed my passions, honestly. And it sounds so cheesy, but like, I knew I wanted to help people. I was thinking something medical. I found something that worked for me, and I just went through with it. And then I felt like I wanted to do women's health. This is what I wanted to do, and I've just been kind of following that and taking any opportunities you can get, whether it's paid or unpaid, volunteer, you know, going to talks. I go to like, I'll occasionally go to, you know, they have free events where there are lectures and talks on different topics going on in healthcare. Just kind of trying to get as much experience as possible and networking. You know, I have like a mentor, another person I met through my mom, which is kind of funny. But she's a nurse and she's done a lot in public health, and so I've spoken with her a lot, and she's taken me to things and networked with me. So I don't know, I feel like this is information you can get anywhere, but I feel like you have to try things to figure out what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I tried working on a pediatric floor, and I was like, I don't want to do pediatrics, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you just have to kind of try a little bit of everything until you find what you like.
Yeah, and the first shoe might not fit, so
Yeah,
you just
absolutely.
move on. Exactly. And if you don't mind, because we will get information from you, that people, because mentoring, I mean, like you just said, your mom found somebody for you. If you, I think it'd be great if we put this down based on what you said, that people could contact you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
With like young women who think they want to do nursing or something medical, or they're just in college and unsure. Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Of
this
course.
is great. Yeah. Madeline. Yes.
Do you want to talk about the book?
Oh my gosh, about becoming
Becoming Michelle Obama?
Yeah, you have to say
Yes,
that.
I know. I'm like a Michelle Obama groupie. I love her. But it's so funny because
it was our virtual
book club in Out the Door Morning Briefs was
That's right.
Becoming Michelle Obama. And I was listening to it on like an audiobook. And at the time that I was listening to it, I was also kind of debating this big career change that I was going to be making. And, you know, this new position, even though I went from like a staff nurse to a nursing director, the hospital to a small clinic is such a big dramatic change. It was actually a pay cut. And I was trying to figure out if this is the right move for me, if this is like, is this the right time to taking a pay cut while I'm in graduate school and things like that. And Michelle Obama was talking to me literally in my ear about how she, right out of college or right after law school, was working in this big corporate law firm and, you know, making, I think it was like $120,000, and this is in the 80s, right out of school. And it was so unfulfilling, and she really didn't enjoy it, and she got the opportunity to work. It was now I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something for the city of Chicago.
Yes.
And like it was something that she was really passionate about with education. And
I was gonna say, wasn't it with kids?
Yeah. It was something, because I know she's all about like education and kids. So anyways, it was a big change for her, and it was a 50% pay cut. Like, she was gonna be making half of what she was making. And then throughout the story, she also took like 2 other jobs that were even bigger pay cuts, but she was in her 20s, and she was finding the time to like make it work, because if it was going to happen anytime, it was going to be now, and it was the experience she wanted, and it was what she was passionate about. And it just like pushed me. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to take this job. Now is the time. I have to do it. So it was so funny. It was like inspirational, really, for me.
At the right time. Yeah.
It was the exact time.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah, you did say that on the call. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for remembering to put that in here. Yeah, because that is key. Yeah. Sometimes you do have to step back to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. And when you're
there's
young,
other thing that,
like, this is the time to do it. If you're gonna take a pay cut or have a weird schedule or move around, whatever it is, like, now is the time to do it.
I used to always, when in radio, and I would hire people, and I said, listen, here's the deal. You can change as many jobs as you want. You've got a 2 in front of of your age.
Yeah.
By the time you get into like the threes and the late threes, people are gonna be saying, "What's wrong with you?" Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, in your 20s, oh my gosh, you should change. You should feel things out and then figure out what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madeline. So, thanks for joining us, and reach out to Madeline for anything and everything. Yeah, this is great. Thanks.